I mentioned before, Zerbi has been in the press conference. We're going to go through quote by quote and react to Zerbi's press conference. So he has been talking more about this mysterious Bomba again. And let's get into it. So let me just get there. So the first quote was, "What's the realistic goal? What goal do you have in mind and how ambitious are you?" And he says, "I can answer your question after the transfer market closes. To be honest, I think we already have a very strong team, very good players. We are waiting for the players who finished the World Cup in the last period, whether it's Senesi, Bentancur or Pape Matar. Then we start to work, like I said, on two things, on the soul and on the style of play, because this season is different than last season. This season we can play with a clear idea, a clear organisation, and then inside a clear organisation the best players can show their qualities. We have a lot of big players, and for that we have to improve in the style of play."
Yeah, I think that's what we all expected that, didn't we? In the back end of last season, obviously we saw like the Zerbi ball light for 7 games. It wasn't nowhere near what we, the full. So that's obviously what we're all expecting come the start of the season. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just because English is not his first language. But he says, I was hoping he would have already started on that stuff during the preseason that we currently have. But I assume he has. But he says.
I think he has, because I think we've seen small bits of it starting to come.
Yeah, but it's just like mostly playing with young players at the moment, isn't it?
I think he means like with the new players that haven't come back yet.
Yeah, he says that because he says once we get the players back from the World Cup, then we start to work. I'm assuming he means, just with those players. Yeah.
Then he said Spurs. He was asked the question: Spurs fans are very excited about you talking about a transfer Bomba. Are you able to provide more details? And he says yes. But Bomba in Italian is different from Bomba in English. You can write what you want, no problem, no pressure. But I said we have to complete the transfer market. I think we have some other players to complete the squad, and the players will be here in the next days are for me top players. I don't know. Is the expectation are bigger than 2 days ago, but we have to go forward and to think. It's so broken English to think the good of the team, of the club, of the squad. In Italian, the word is different. So, I mean, what are you...
Yeah, trying to piece together what he's trying to say.
It's so broken English, it's hard to understand what he
So he says,
means.
but we have to complete the transfer market. I think we have some other players to complete the squad. So is he saying players to sign or players to complete the squad who are coming back from like the World Cups and stuff? And then he says, and the players will be here in the next days are for me top players. So is he saying we're going to sign someone in the next days who are top players? Is that what he's saying? Or is he saying the players who are going to be in the next days?
Yeah, I think he means that
just
players
the squad
are still coming back that are
and
top players.
they're top players. Maybe that's what he means. The players who will be here in the next days.
Like Senesi, top player.
But he's talking about transfers.
Yeah. But then he talks about players that are going to be here in the next... I don't know. I think he's talking about both. He talks about to complete the transfer market, then it's a full stop. Then he goes on and talks about the players that are coming back.
I'm really not sure. We have to complete the transfer market. I think we have some other players to complete the squad. So is that him saying new signings?
I think the other players to complete the squad, and I think he's talking about both other players to complete the squad and players to come back that are not with the squad yet. I think he's talking about both.
I don't know, because he asked directly about transfers, so I think he's talking about transfers.
But then he said in Italian Bomba is different to an English Bomba.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
He goes on in the next quote.
So let's talk about that, and then we can talk about the whole thing. And he says, what's the definition in Italian? And he says, I think Tonali, Mateus Fernandes, Senesi, Robertson are Bomba. For me, top players for us. So what's the difference between English and Italian then?
Because that's what it means for us as well. That's what I thought Bomba meant. Maybe he thinks Bomba in English is just any normal transfer, and he's trying to say, no, Bomba means top player. A top player is coming. A top player is signing. That's what Bomba means. Is that what he's trying to say?
But that's what we all think it means.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But maybe he thinks that we think a Bomba is just a signing. I don't know.
Why do you think that?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's all so strange. This whole thing is so strange. I don't know. I really don't think there's an imminent transfer before Savinho. I just don't think so. I think we would have heard a lot more about something by now.
Well, so what? So, but do you think that's what he's alluding to? An imminent. So what do you think he's got his wires crossed, or do you think he's just maybe putting pressure on the board, or do you think maybe he's he thinks like saying Bomba doesn't, I don't know, mean something else? What do you think's going on here?
What he means. I think there's a lot of broken English going on, and I think we're not understanding him. He's probably not understanding us. I don't think anyone's understanding anyone.
He says you can write what you want, no problem, no pressure. But I said we have to complete the transfer market, and I think we have some other players to complete the squad. And the players will be in the next with the top players. I don't know if the expectations are bigger than 2 days ago, but we have to go forward and to think. I mean, I think he's talking about signing players, personally. I think he is, but I don't know if he means that we're going to sign someone the next days. I don't know. The whole thing is confusing. Maybe he needs to say it in Italian, and we need a translator.
He said in the last press conference, right, or the interview with Ali Gold, he said a Bomba is coming in the next days.
And then he clarified saying a deal is. I don't want to. He said I don't want to say it's close or something. But he was definitely talking about a transfer deal. So I don't think he's got his wires crossed there. I don't think we're misunderstanding that. I think he is saying there is a Bomba and a transfer coming.
Like I said yesterday, I think Ali Gold's got his wires crossed here, and I think he's talking about Savinho.
Yeah, he might well be. I mean, there's nothing in the quotes to suggest he isn't. But Ali Gold seems adamant that he isn't for some reason.
This is what I was saying to you yesterday.
Yeah, but why would he seem adamant he isn't?
I don't know. Maybe
he must have given some indication.
Maybe Zerbi's just trying to confuse everyone. I swear, he just doesn't want to give anything away. I don't know. It's all just very confusing.
Like I know how Ali Gold looks at situations and reads body language, reads maybe if someone's being sarcastic or something, because a lot of the time people quote his quotations in their aggregation, and he was like, well, if you actually watch it, he didn't say it like this, he didn't mean it like this. So he's very good at all that kind of stuff. So if he's adamant for whatever reason that Zerbi is not talking about Savinho, I tend to believe him. I don't think he's being confused. There must be a reason he thinks that. Yeah, and I don't know what it is, but there must be a reason. There must be a
reason, but it doesn't mean he's 100% right every single time,
About what a manager means, I think he usually is right every time.
But not always. Because it's what he takes from the situation, right? It's nothing factual. It's what he takes from the situation, so he might be wrong. There's nothing to say that he's 100% right, even though he's very good at these things, and even though most of the time he's right, it doesn't mean he's right on this occasion.
Yeah, but I don't. My point is, I don't think if he wasn't 100% sure, he would. Ali Gold's not the kind of guy to say, he's definitely in Savinho. He would be honest. He's a very honest guy. Ali Gold is never like that. Like what he was yesterday, saying there's a Bomba coming. Ali Gold said.
Well, maybe Zerbi thought yesterday a deal was in the line, and now maybe it's fallen through or something, and maybe something's happened to suggest that maybe it's not in the offing anymore. I don't know. It could be anything.
Well, I don't think Zerbi's suggested anything about a deal being off, has he? It's just we haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Yeah, I do think I was really sure if it was true about this Bomba that we would have heard a name by now from someone, definitively.
From ITKs we have, but not from anyone else.
But even them, they haven't been definitive.
Yeah.
They've just been like, I think it's him. I'm pretty sure it's him, but no one's like, it is him. This is who it's being talked about. No one has been sure on this situation, which is pretty odd, considering that there is a deal out apparently that's really close about to be done. You would have thought we would have heard something, and that, especially after Zerbi put it out there in the media.
Yeah, so I don't know.
It's hard to know what to think about this. Yeah.
Anyway, he said after the next question, he says, "You said 60% of the window's done. You've signed 6 players already. Does that mean we should expect more?" And he says, "I think 2, maybe 3. We have to see." So he's saying 2 to 3 signings left in this transfer window.
seems confident with that as well. He actually gave a number. He didn't say like, oh, we'll see, or we're going to try and sign as many as we can. We're going to look for opportunities to improve the squad. He didn't use all that jargon that we've heard from other managers. He said, no, we'll probably get 2. Maybe even 3. So he seems really certain that we're going to get these signings through the door between now and the end of the window, which is really great to hear. Where those positions are and who those are, that's obviously the question. There's been some suggestion it might be 2 attackers and a midfielder. I've heard. I think it's all gone quite quiet on a striker, hasn't it? It's more about wingers at the moment, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, Mamouche is a striker, I think, by trade. He can play on the left wing. But he's really the only one. But that hasn't been put out in like the mainstream press or anything like that. I'd be disappointed if it's not a striker, but with the Richarlison news of that he wants to stay. But again, has that been in the mainstream news, or is that just ITK's as well?
That was Spurs Journo, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I've seen some suggestion that maybe do we do what PSG do? Is that the way we should go? Just play like three versatile wingers.
I would like that. I would like that. Makes it a lot more fluid and stuff, but I don't know. I think Zerbi would want a number 9. But anyway, we've got 2 number 9s at the club, and if they're here, they're going to be utilised. Yeah,
but doesn't mean if we have 3 versatile attackers who could all kind of interchange, if that's the best way to go, then those 2 guys won't be in the team unless they show value. Zerbi's not the kind of guy just to play them just because they're there. They have to earn their place in the team. 100%. So I think it could be a way to go, but I don't know
against it.
What would that look like? Maybe a like a Kuda Savinho, and I mean it could be a Mamouche. I guess it'd still have to be a new signing, whoever it is, isn't it?
But Mamouche is like a central player, really.
Yeah, he can't do both, can he? Yeah, he's definitely more central. But he's like a second striker more than like a pure number 9. But maybe that's what Zerbi wants. He doesn't need like a pure number 9.
Yeah, with the links to Krupi, it would make sense. Next up, he says, do club records signings and add additional pressure to the upcoming season? He said 0 pressure. You know why? Because day one, I don't understand why this means no pressure. Anyway, it says, because day one, taxi man in London stopped me to congratulate me on the transfer market. He said, you are spending a lot of money. I said, who are you a fan of? Arsenal. You have to spend the money for a long time, in at least 3-4 years. I think Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea and Arsenal, to stay at the top of the table, you have to spend money. If you want to compete now for the top of the Premier League and to put Tottenham at the highest level, I think we need to bring top players like we are doing. I mean, I don't know how that answers his question.
But first of all, I just love the fact that he's arguing with Arsenal fans in the back of a taxi.
Is that even an argument?
Huh? Well, he's having whatever. It's a bit of an argument, but because he's saying, "Oh, you've got." The Arsenal fan is saying you've spent a lot of money. You've got to do something, and he's kind of like batting against it a bit. I've been looking at this quote. I'm trying to figure out exactly what he's trying to say about 0 pressure. I think what he means is that. So they're saying, you've spent all this money now, 230 million, maybe even more. Like, does that mean you have to get results now, and that adds pressure to your position because we're giving you a lot of trust and we're backing you with all this money? I think he's trying to say, like, why should all that money add pressure? Because all the top teams, you have to spend money and we have to catch up to them. So any manager, right, who's in my position, we're going to need a lot of money. We're going to need money to buy these top players to catch up to these top teams and compete. So spending all this money shouldn't just add pressure. It's what we needed to do. It's not something about them showing trust in me. It's about what a top club should be doing anyway. Obviously, his position is going to be under pressure. He's at a top club. So yes, any manager in a top club has to get results. But I think maybe...
Particularly De Zerbi as well, though, is under pressure. Particularly De Zerbi.
But why particularly De Zerbi?
Because we've put so much trust and faith in him. We're going his way. We're getting exactly we're backing him more than we've ever backed any other manager before.
Yeah.
So if it goes wrong next season, it's everyone's going to be looking at him. It has to go right next season.
No,
he's under massive pressure to perform next season.
I understand that, but I think he's trying to battle against that suggestion. because he's trying to say that, okay, they've given you all this money, but all the top clubs have money. This shouldn't be like, oh, Spurs have spent money, this is so special, like we're backing you more than any other manager, because this, what we're doing this summer is pretty normal for other teams, for other top clubs. So like spending this transfer window that we're having, does that add pressure to the other managers, in their club? Well, I would say at the end of the day, regardless of whether the money adds pressure, there should be pressure, because you're at a top club, you're at Tottenham, and there should be pressure to get results. And if you're not getting good enough results, or whatever, or the performances are nowhere near good enough for any extended period of time, then you're going to be under pressure, and your job's going to be on the line.
This transfer window is not that normal, though. I know it's definitely not normal for Tottenham, but even in the context of a normal Premier League transfer window for a top club, I don't think it's that normal. You're talking about a whole regeneration of the first team.
Yeah, but we finished 17th.
Yeah, I know. And I'm not saying it's the wrong thing to do, but it's not normal, I'm saying, in the context of a big club in the Premier League.
No, but it's not normal for a big club to finish 17th twice. So I think his point is, like, is it that they're showing all this trust in me, spending money, or is it because, we have finished 17th, and if we're going to compete, we just need top players. That's just the fact. Mm-hmm. So we're going to need to spend this money. It's not like me. He's trying to say it's not like me, having all this trust in the board, and in the board having all this trust in me. It's just more like that. I'm the manager now, and we finished 17th twice. And if they have any hope of closing that gap, they're going to have to spend all this money. So why should them spending all this money put pressure on me? That should just be the thing that they do. You know what I mean? Yeah,
but they've spent money on his advice, and he's the one, requesting the players, telling them where they need the players, what profile of players they need, who to bring in, and everything like that. So it rests on him, because he is a key part of all the decision making now.
Yeah, so I agree. I think there is pressure on him. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just trying to work out what he's saying. I think that's what he's trying to say.
Obviously, he's going to say no pressure. Like, he doesn't want to go into the season with pressure. So for him, and in his mind, he's going to say no pressure.
Yeah. Well, no, but I'm trying to work out what he's trying to say with that story. You know what I mean? Well,
I have no clue what he's trying to say with the story.
I think that's what he's trying to say.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, the reality is there is a lot of pressure going into him this season, in my opinion. He's talking about Conor Gallagher next. The question was, where do you think Conor Gallagher can develop and his best position? I consider Conor a top player, a top guy, because sometimes you don't know the people, but inside the dressing room, I think it's more important to be a good guy, a right person, than a good player. And he's both a good player and a good guy. Maybe in the last third of the pitch, he has more quality than he thinks, or maybe he's showing now. He can score more goals, but when Conor is good, in a good condition, I said last season, and I repeat, we play with one player more, because he's like two players. Obviously, you're talking about the five lungs that Conor can out. And I think we've seen that in pre-season already, the energy that he has, just pressing, the amount of chances he makes just from, forcing errors from the back line with his pressing is fantastic. But he's right in terms of what he's saying. Like, he needs more quality in that final third, or needs to show more quality. And we've seen it in certain parts of his career, but we haven't seen it at Tottenham yet.
No, look, he's only been here 6 months, and it's been a turbulent time. But agreed, I think definitely we haven't seen anywhere near his ability in that final third that we've seen any of his other previous three clubs that we've seen at Tottenham. So I think we definitely need to start showing it, but we know it's there. We know it's in him. We've seen it in the Premier League. We've seen it at two different clubs. So this isn't like a flash. There wasn't a fluke, those seasons. He has the ability to do it. And I think it's just platforming him in the proper way and getting him in those positions. And I've got no worries about him off the ball and the amount he presses and the amount he runs. And I think in certain games, that's going to be a major, major asset. It's going to allow us to really suffocate teams and go after teams and be relentless, like stay on top of them, because of that ability he has. But if he's going to obviously be a top player, and a player that's with us for 4 or 5 years, yeah, he's going to need to start adding those bits of quality that we have seen at the likes of Chelsea and Palace at Tottenham. He's going to have to start sprinkling that in, because we've seen it in glimpses, but yeah, it's been really like barely anything you can grab your hand on. Like what we've seen at Tottenham, it was like one moment at Villa and a couple of moments like in other games. And yeah, we need to see a lot more of that. But I think we know he has it in him. We know he has it in him.
And then Conor Gallagher was next to him in the press conference, and the interviewer goes, and Connor, what do you think about that? And De Zerbi just butted in and said, nothing, Connor, nothing. And the last question put to De Zerbi was, we've seen the inclusion of multiple youth prospects during the tour. How important is it for you to nurture them in a professional environment like this? And he says, for one club like Tottenham, our level is crucial because when you go into the Champions League, European competition, to complete the list for the financial fair play, it's very important. Sometimes people forget the rules of the financial fair play, but it's very important to produce players from the academy. And now we're working with 3 or 4 potential very good players like Luca Williams-Barnett, Malachi Hardy, and Mikey Moore, even if he's older. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Mikey Moore's 18.
Well, he's 1 year older, isn't he, than the other two?
I mean, Malachi's also 18, I think.
Is he? Okay, so...
he's saying 3 or 4, so I'm guessing the 4th player is probably Junai, right? Junai Beifeld.
Yeah, who's obviously injured at the moment. I'm really glad he's thinking about that, because there was obviously a fear with all these, players that we're talking about selling, and some of our younger players, that part could be neglected. And we had these discussions about Bergvall and Gray being club trained players, and that's a big reason for them to keep them on and all this kind of stuff. But if he's already thinking about that, maybe he's thinking, maybe next season if we're in the Champions League, Williams-Barnett could be part of the squad, or Mikey Moore could be part of the squad, or whatever. Regardless whether they're in the club trained or in the B squad, just like as options. Like that's where his head's at. We need to develop these players so they're good enough to be part of it. I'm glad he's thinking about that, because there was a fear that that part of it is being neglected. But I always think De Zerbi's obviously throughout all his clubs has been a big champion of younger players and always given them opportunities. So obviously we've seen a lot of that in pre-season so far. Well, maybe that a lot of it's forced his hand, but I think we're already seeing Luca Williams-Barnett and Mikey Moore, Malachi Hardy, what they could potentially offer. So do you think that he's confirming there, like Mikey Moore is staying with that, or is that not quite a confirmation?
No, I don't think so. I just think he's in his thoughts in terms of trying to nurture him the best way and to build him up. I've actually just had some information on Mikey Moore. An exclusive from Haters, apparently.
From Haters?
Yeah. They've given us one before, and it was spot on. I think it was about one of our other young players. But they say German club Hamburg and Cologne and Championship side Middlesbrough are among those that are trying to sign Mikey Moore on loan right now. Oh. So it'll be interesting. I mean, would you prefer him to go to the Bundesliga or the Championship?
I think... That's a tough one, because I think the Championship is very physically robust, so maybe that will maybe toughen him up a bit and maybe get him more ready for the Premier League. But I think the Bundesliga might platform his attacking skill set a lot better, so maybe he would he would gain more confidence being in a top 5 league like the Bundesliga and showing off his skill set there. So it's difficult. It's both have their strengths and weaknesses. Obviously, if he goes to Bury, he's going to be with his mate Langshire, so maybe that would help him settle in a bit.
So it actually says here a move abroad is being favoured at this stage.
I think I probably would go favour Germany, to be honest. I think I was probably just about leaning that way. I think if you get someone like Mikey Moore, really showing his talents, getting on the ball, creating goals and assists, and gaining that confidence that he can be a really good player in a top 5 league, I think he comes back to Tottenham full of that confidence. And I think we're probably more confident in him if he smashes out in the Bundesliga than if he smashes out in the Championship.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. It'll be great to see him in the Bundesliga week in, week out, whether it be for Hamburg or Cologne. Obviously, Vuskovic, what he did in the Bundesliga last season, if Mikey Moore can kind of replicate that from the left wing or from the number 10, whichever position he plays, then you're talking about a player that's potentially ready to come into the team next season. So, that was every word De Zerbi said in his press conference. We move on and we focus on the game tomorrow. So let's get the predicted lineup up. There we